Hello, my name is John Rose, and in this video I'd like to take a closer look at some of the flaws in Eastern philosophy, especially the 7 spiritual laws, and the one statement that really drives me bonkers, and that's where people say that duality fades into the oneness of everything. Well, that's not true at all. Duality is reality. We humans are living systems, and we need a feedback system to help us understand what we're doing. That's why our brains are wired for pleasure and pain. So if you want to understand duality, you have to understand that's a form of two-value logic, and it doesn't fade into the oneness of everything. If you want to compare two-value logic to anything, you compare it to one-value logic. An example of one-value logic is God said so. Now that is something we got to think about. Otherwise, duality is essential for we humans. We need feedback to help us understand what we're doing. So it's not appropriate to say that there's no right or wrong. Now, to explain that better, let's take a look at the 7 spiritual laws, at least the way Deepak Chopra explains it. And I don't have issue with 5 of these spiritual laws, but 2 of them I do. One of them possibly, that's the second law, the law of giving. That's actually on our to-get list, not on our to-do list. We shouldn't be told to be giving. We shouldn't be told to cooperate. We shouldn't be told to love. We shouldn't even have 10 commandments. All of these things are given provided we do the right thing. See, this is what we're missing. We don't understand how to live. So when we look at the 7 spiritual laws, the first spiritual law is the law of pure potentiality. This is where we meditate, and there's no judgment here. There's no right or wrong. Well, poppycock, there is right or wrong. And I'm not being judgmental when I use those words. Either we have knowledge of how to live and we apply it, or we don't apply it, or we don't have the knowledge and we make mistakes either way. And then the one that really gets me is the third law, the law of least effort. And this is where Deepak says that we must accept things the way they are right now. And we shouldn't blame anyone, including ourselves. Now, wait a second. Doesn't that take away our responsibility? Yeah, we don't want to blame other people, but how can you say including yourself? So that's not true. And what we have to do is understand that we must question every belief system that takes away our responsibility. And anytime people say that you shouldn't blame yourself, that's a big mistake. So the point here is that it's hard to find any system that's going to be 100% perfect. I will say one thing about Buddhism's Eightfold Path when it comes to solving problems. I couldn't find any flaws in that one. All 8 steps in Buddhism's Eightfold Path are spot on. But when we look at other belief systems, you're going to find that it's very difficult to find those to be 100% perfect. And I don't mean to come off the wrong way, which I might with some people. If you haven't watched my other videos, you know that I explain that religion and spirituality are what I call subsequent needs because we're disconnected. The root word for religion is religio, and that means to connect. And of course, the concept of spirituality is the oneness of everything. And again, for any of y'all who've seen my other videos, you know that that's the main focus of my videos, is that we don't feel one with with everything anymore. And that's mainly because of the very first mistake we made, which is the fall of mankind. This is when we destroyed a nutrient that feeds one of our senses. So the problem that we face on this planet right now is most of us think we only have 5 senses, and that's wrong. We are a 6th sense species. We're missing our 6th sense. And this is why we're on the wrong path. Not being judgmental, I'm just saying that we're in the dark ages now instead of playing in paradise. So what we have to understand is almost everything we study that's part of history has occurred after the fall of mankind. And most of these belief systems are helping us deal with being on the wrong path. And what we have to do is we got to get off this negative horizontal loop where we're trying to make life better in hell. We got to get the hell out of hell and go back up into paradise, where we simply have a place where we don't have problems that are within our control. And that begins by taking responsibility and play our role when it comes to solving problems. And to do that, we've got to correct basic mistakes. The big problem with correcting mistakes is that most of us aren't going to be willing to do what we have to do, which is why I came up with a 3-step process where the first step addresses the willingness issue. And you can click right here and do the first of my 3-step process so that you can play your individual role and see what you're missing. Be the change that you wish to see. Be an example to everyone else. Correct these mistakes. And remember, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. When I say there's a flaw in something, I don't mean to throw the whole thing out. It means that you have to understand how the world works. And many times what the powers that be do is they infiltrate these belief systems and they just change something here or there to trick us and fool us. This is how controlled opposition works. They'll tell you 100 things or 1,000 things that are true just to get you to believe in the one lie that is crucial to them. And this is what makes it very difficult. So we have to question everything. And since we have so many references that support our current belief system, our current way of life, there's really only one thing we can do to challenge all of these references. And that's to come up with a brand new reference. And when you do the first of my 3-step process, click here, you'll have a brand new reference, and you're going to come to the realization that none of these systems out there that are trying to solve the vast majority of our problems will ever be able to solve those problems, because those problems are 100% within our control, and the solution lies within each and every one of us. That's why this is called the hero's journey. The definition of a hero is simply a person who can solve a problem that no one else can solve. Well, since most of our problems are self-inflicted, that means that you are the hero. So join the hero's journey, and that begins by accepting the mission. That begins by testing an idea whose time has come. That begins by clicking here and doing the first of my 3-step process. And I can guarantee every one of y'all who do this, you're in for a treat.